reason we also call them as the muscle fibers. And these muscle fibers, they unite together to form a muscle. These muscle fibers, they unite together to form the muscle. Actually, what happens is this muscle tissue, they are originated from the mesoderm. They are originated from the mesoderm of the embryonic layers. No, there are 3 embryonic layers, and they are muscles. They are originated from the mesodermal, and they are made up of the long cylindrical muscle fibers. They are arranged in the parallel arrays. They are arranged in the parallel arrays. Muscle fibers or muscle cells, they are themselves made up of the very fine fibrils called as the myofibrils. They are called as the myofibrils. They are actually what you can see. What I am drawing here, you can see the painting. So this is the parallel array arrangement of the muscle fibers. But while if we are going to zoom one muscle fiber, for example, I will show you the different. If this is one muscle fiber itself is made up of small myofibrils like this. Okay, so one muscle fiber is itself made up of the small myofibrils. I hope that you understood. So what is actually the muscle fiber? It is the contractile unit of the body. They contract and relax rhythmically. Everybody can understand? Everybody is able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So now let's talk about the types of the muscles. There are actually the 3 types of muscles. One is what we called as skeletal muscles. Another one, and the skeletal muscles is also called as the voluntary muscles. Then there is the smooth muscles, also called as the involuntary muscles. And then there are the cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are the muscles of heart. And of course, cardiac muscles is also of the involuntary control. To make you sure about what is difference between the voluntary and the involuntary, I would like to tell you, like the voluntary muscles, they are directly connected with the CNS, central nervous system. And when they are directly controlled with when they are directly connected with the central nervous system, it means that the movement is under human control. The movement is under human control. For example, the movement of the hands, the movement of the arms, the movement of the legs, these organs, they are facilitated by skeletal muscles. And skeletal muscles, they are directly in contact with CNS, central nervous system. They're directly in contact with the brain and spinal cord. And anything which is in contact with the spinal cord and brain, we have control over that. So that's the reason on our voluntary action, we can move our hands, we can move our feet, we can move our legs. So it's because of the voluntary control, its connection with the central nervous system. Similarly, these skeletal muscles, they are present. Okay, we will go through skeletal muscles later on, but I'm just trying to tell you what is the voluntary and involuntary action. While talking of the involuntary action, for example, involuntary muscles, these muscles, what happens to involuntary muscles? They are not connected with the CNS directly. They are not connected with the central nervous system, but they are connected with the PNS, that's peripheral nervous system, what we call as there are 2 types of the peripheral nervous system. One is what we call as the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And both sympathetic and parasympathetic, they are situational. And how is the situation right now? These nervous system acts, but they are not under the control of human beings because they are not directly contact with the human brain. So what happens in the involuntary muscles? So they are not directly in contact with the brain and spinal cord. That is the reason that these muscles, they are not under the control of human body. So they are moving at their own. Their movement is at their own. We cannot control them. We cannot stop them. We cannot enhance them. For example, there is what we called as the esophagus. In esophagus, that there is one constant movement, what we call as a peristalsis. Okay, due to the peristaltic movement in the GIT, what happens is the food comes down, and this is what we call as the involuntary movement. We can't stop the involuntary movement. For example, if it were the voluntary, if a person is feeling hungry, what he will do, he won't allow the food to pass from the stomach to duodenum. But due to the involuntary movement, rhythmic movement in the GIT, gastrointestinal tract, the food moves from stomach to the lower portions, what we call as the duodenum, small intestines, and then the large intestines. So this is the difference between the what we call as the voluntary and the involuntary muscles. I hope you understood this.
Yes, sir.
They are also called as the striated muscles because of the striations. When you see the skeletal muscles, there are two types of bands. What we, for example, let me show you. If there is one band, this is, for example, a band. There will be another band. There is what we call as the constantly. There is two types of bands here. Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't draw the picture exactly because this is the mobile phone. I'm not using the board here. So there are constantly the striations. So that's the reason they are called as striated muscles, but they are called as striated muscles as well. That's because of the appearance. I will show you in next diagram. And these are the quality in control because it means that they are direction conscious. So these muscles, they are directly attached with the central nervous system, with the brain and the spinal cord, and microscopically the cells, they are found to be roughly cylindrical in shape, in size, as they may be as long as 35 centimeters. Remember this. After nerve cell, muscle cell is the second largest cell inside the human body. You know that nerve cells, they may be 1 meter long, and muscle cells, it may be up to 35 centimeters long. The muscle cells, they are very elongated, and their thickness is less, but they are very elongated in the form of fibers. That's the reason we call muscle cells as the muscle fibers. So you can see the muscle fibers in this diagram, slide. There is the muscle fibers. Each cell, commonly called as a fiber, has several nuclei. Yeah, remember this. That these cells have many nuclei. This is not the uninucleated. They are the polynucleated cells. They are just under the sarcolemma. You know, when we talk about the endoplasmic reticulum, the endoplasmic reticulum of the muscle cells was called as the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Similarly, the cell membrane of the muscle cells is called as the sarcolemma. So these is called the sarcolemma. The muscle fibers lie parallel to one another, and which, when viewed under this microscope, they show the well-marked transverse dark and light bands, hence the name striated or striped. And as you can see in this diagram, there are the constant, regular, what we called as the dark and light band. Dark and light band, we call it an A band and I band. When we will go through this chapter's muscles, at that time we will discuss it in detail. But here you are getting an idea that there are the constant dark and dark and light bands. Due to this appearance, we call these muscles as the striated muscles or striped muscles. I hope that you understood this. So there is the cytoplasm of muscle cells is called as the sarcoplasm, and the sarcoplasm, it contains the muscle fibers, and it in turn it contains the bundles of myofibrils. I told you that what is the bundles of myofibrils. For example, if this is one muscle fiber, inside the muscle fiber there are small myofibrils. There are small myofibrils. Myo itself being small, myo means myo means muscle, but the fibrils, they are small fibers present in the muscle fiber. I hope that you understood this.
Yes, sir.
So there is the glycogen also. There is the glycogen also. What is glycogen? Non-striated muscles because there are no striations, and they are also involuntary because they are connected with the veins. That's what we call as the peripheral nervous system. They are not connected with the central nervous system. So that's the reason they are not in our control. For example, the peristalsis of the esophagus, it can't be controlled by us. Similarly, for example, there are the similarly during pregnancy, what happens is there is the rhythmic uterine contractions due to the oxytocin, and this rhythmic uterine contraction which pulls the baby, which pulls the fetus down. This is the what we call as an involuntary movement, and it can't be controlled, it can't be stopped, or it can't be rhythmized, increased by the action of humans. So this is what we call as the involuntary muscle, and it is not under the conscious control. It is found in the walls of the hollow organs. Yeah, remember this. And when it's examined under the microscope, the cells are seen to be spindle shaped with only one central nucleus. With only one central nucleus. There is no distinct sarcolemma, but a very fine membrane surrounds each fiber. So remember this, that in the smooth muscle cells, there are not the distinct sarcolemma, but a very fine membrane surround each fibers. So this is the diagram of the smooth muscles. If you want, you can have a screenshot. You're taking screenshot now?
Sir?
You are taking screenshots. We called as the smooth muscles. They are present on the inside the organs. For example, there is a stomach is there. This is made up of the involuntary muscle. There is the, for example, liver. It's made up of the involuntary muscles. All the organs present inside except the heart, they are made up of the involuntary muscles. Similarly,
Not clear, sir.
why is it not clear? Is it okay? Sorry, all the organs present, they are made up of the smooth muscles. For example, there is the stomach, there is the duodenum, there is the jejunum, there is ileum, there is the large intestines, what we call as the rectum and all. They are actually made up of the smooth muscles. They are not on our voluntary control. So, similarly, but except the heart is made up of the cardiac muscles. So let's talk about the cardiac muscle tissue. But I would like to tell you one thing. Wherever you find the word cardiac as prefix, cardiac means heart. For example, wherever you find the word cardiac, for example, cardiac cycle, it means that it is something related to heart. There is, for example, the cardiac tumor. It's something related to heart. Cardiologist, it means that the doctor who has specialty in heart is called as the cardiologist. So it means that wherever you find the word cardiac, it refers to heart. So let's talk about the heart. Heart is again, let's talk about the cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscle tissue is again what we call as involuntary because it's not our control. For example, we can't stop heart with our actions, with our control. But Almighty God, He naturally knows if a person is on sleep, he can't control the heart. His brain can't control the heart. For example, when we are sleeping for the night time and we are not able to control our heart, what will happen? Ram Ram Satya hai. We will die. So that is the reason the heart, it is the involuntary and it keep on beating at its own. It keep on pumping the blood at its own. So by this what happens? The heart is pumping continuously. It's not getting fatigued. The being fatigued, it is the property of skeletal muscles. It is not the property of involuntary muscles. For example, there is a continuous peristaltic movement in the esophagus, what we call the food pipe also. But they never get fatigued because this is the property. Being fatigued is the property of skeletal muscles only, and what we call as involuntary muscles are the smooth and cardiac muscles. They are not getting fatigued. If the heart muscles, what we call as the cardiac muscles, gets fatigued, feel fatigued at some time, at that time what will happen? The person will die. heart will stop the pumping of blood, and at that time the person may die. Everybody is able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, cardiac muscles, they are found exclusively in the walls of heart. Cardiac muscles have cross striations here in the in skeletal muscle. We find the striations, but they were the parallel striations, and they were the alternate striations. In some muscles, there were no striations, but in cardiac muscles, there are the cross striations formed by rotating segments of the thick and the thin protein filamentous, what we call as the protein actin and the myosin. There is a constant rotation due to which cross beats, or what we call as cross striations formed. Each muscle cell or each fiber has a nucleus and one or more branches, as you can see this in diagram. There are many what we call as the many fibers or muscles, but they are cross-linked with each other. Each cell has only one nucleus. So, microscopically, these joints are intercalated discs. They can be seen as lines, which are thicker, darker than the ordinary cross strips. A wave of contraction spreads from cell to cell across the intercalated discs, which means that these cells do not need to be stimulated. Indeed, you can see this. These are the fundamental. If the one muscles, there is a formation of the discs. Can you see this? I'm trying to make the diagram. What happens due to by these discs? What happens by these discs? Oh, sorry. What happens by these discs when the heart gives a signal from SA node, then SA node to AV node through by the internodal fibers, then the impulse goes toward the heart. But every cell doesn't need to be stimulated. Here are the intercalated discs. And these ostriches actually, when one cell is stimulated, it stimulates the surrounding cell. It stimulates the nearby cells through intercalated discs. I hope that you understood this. I hope you understood this. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. You can take screenshot.
ഗൈസ് ഓഡിയോ ഇഷ്ടമായെങ്കിൽ പ്ലീസ് സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ദ ചാനൽ.